Hello and welcome to the Superhero Show. I'm Daniel, this is Chris, and I was away last week. And last week you tackled a big question.
We did. We tackled who delivered the greatest superhero performance
Ever.
And we got lots of feedback,
and I believe
lots of views. Big hit on YouTube, that
I
one.
It was the highest rating show there's ever been. I wasn't on it. It was fine.
Yeah,
whatever.
Bring back
fine.
Rich Bear Park.
Not even bothered. Not even bothered.
He's very good, though.
Anyway.
Yeah, moving on swiftly.
So, because we didn't come up with a more original title, we're just going to do, because we did Hero last week, we're going to do Villain this week.
Flip it on its head.
Flip it over.
I mean, your first suggestion to me earlier in the week was, let's do who's your worst superhero performance, but we kind of touched
I'm just
upon
quite
that.
a negative person.
Yeah, it's too negative, so we're going for who's your favourite supervillain.
Diego Maradona.
Oh, what a bastard.
Football jokes.
One for our American viewers.
They're lapping out. So, anyway, moving on.
So, the first person that springs to mind, obviously,
it's
is
kind
the
of
Joker.
I'm sure that's the first comment below this video is Heath Ledger's Joker. I think that's kind of hard to really debate that in many ways. He won the Oscar for it.
Yeah, so we're almost going to do it without talking about that. Although he is the best. I grew up loving Jack Nicholson's Joker and everything that could be topped. And then was I and everyone else proved wrong.
Yeah. Well, imagine the kind of descent when Heath Ledger was even cast as the Joker. A lot of naysayers. And obviously we're experiencing that now with a lot of casting, Jesse Eisenberg. So you kind of have to see what they'll do with the role. And he just, he did something exceptional.
He absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, so that aside, who would be your pick?
My pick is Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2.
So Alfred Molina.
Yep. And it's kind of the reason it's my favourite villain is almost the opposite from Heath Ledger's Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker, you can't have any sympathy with. You don't know where he's coming from. And he is pure evil, and it's absolutely terrifying. Whereas what Sam Raimi did with Doc Ock is really create a character that you could understand. And Alfred Molina is very likeable, playing the part early on in the film. And then tragedy strikes, obviously, and he's driven mad, and then he becomes a villain. But even towards the end of the film, you still feel sympathy for the character.
And he has that moment of redemption as well.
Exactly, he gets his redemption. So it's a wonderful kind of story arc the character gets.
He's a very tragic character in many ways, particularly that rendition of him in that movie. He's a very flawed character, and he is a villain because of circumstance in many ways. Very misunderstood.
Yeah, and for that reason, I think it's the best of all the Spider-Man films as well. I don't know if you feel that.
I think Spider-Man 2 still ranks as one of the great superhero films that's ever been made. I think it's exceptional.
Most definitely. And Alfred Molina is not someone you would have immediately thought of in that role. He's not been a huge star before or since, but he just nails it.
Yeah, and I think jury's still out. We've not even seen it. Person's not even been cast. But it'd be interesting to see what they do with Doc Ock next time around. And I think you'll see just how good Alfred Molina's Doc Ock was when they do the second rendition, because I think that it'll be really hard to match that.
Yeah. How about you?
So my one is it's Tom Hiddleston's Loki, and for a few reasons. One, I think Tom Hiddleston's just great in that role. He really revels in it. I think he's great in the Avengers. When you've got all those characters about in the Avengers, it's incredible that he doesn't get lost. He has some great moments. But the reason I like him is I think prior to him appearing in the Marvel Universe, a lot of the Marvel villains I thought were quite forgettable. And I mean the Marvel kind of produced superhero films. I think they really suffered with their villains, where you're thinking about the Iron Man movies, Jeff Bridges' character got lost, same with Mickey Rourke's character. And it suffered, and even like Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, it suffered this problem where in the final reel it was two CGI creatures or two people in masks having these interactions that meant nothing. And having Hiddleston being this kind of manipulator, not out and out evil, but someone who enjoys chaos, a little bit like the Joker, but has more human motivations. Yeah. I just thought that really lent something to the Marvel Universe that was lacking until he appeared. That he really was this kind of manipulator with a human face, which they never really had before. Yeah. And I think he's been great. I think you could even make a Loki spin-off movie, and it would be appealing. Yeah, yeah. My only problem with him is that he's too likeable. I like the villain too much, to the point that I like him more than the heroes. And I don't find... Well, he's got more character than
I kind of wish he was a bit more scary.
Yeah. I suppose that's
I'd
not.
like to go for a pint with
suppose
him.
not in the, yeah, he's more the trickster, isn't he? That,
Yeah.
you know, from mythology and
Yeah,
other
yeah.
kind of lore. That is his whole shtick. But I just think he's.
I think he's getting better with each film.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
also like, why is he the great villain? Maybe he's not the greatest villain in terms of. Has the best schemes or plots, or is the most evil, but I think he's the most useful for the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think he's not going to be in the next one much, but he's one that they're going to bring back over and over again. I think,
He's going to be really useful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what about throw me some curveballs, Dan? Let's talk about some of the other ones that we like.
See my nuts. So I've got a few here from obviously Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy.
Okay, throw them
Use
at me.
lots of villains. What do you think about Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow?
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary. We don't really get to know much about that
I
character.
thought an interesting villain considering the whole like theme of the first movie was fear.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us on Newsnight Review.
Interesting little story about that. I got stuck behind Cillian Murphy at LAX airport at one time, and I went through all the different stages of security and checking in and stuff, and it was a little glimpse into what his life must be like. He's made some great films. I love 28 Days Later, some brilliant stuff. Everywhere he went, people said, "Are you the Scarecrow? Are you the Scarecrow from Batman? Are you the Scarecrow from Batman?"
To be fair, he was wearing the mask.
But that must have been in 10 minutes. I was behind him in all
God.
these queues. He must have been asked that question 7 times. That is his life, and he's not even in the films very much.
Yeah.
So he's obviously made something of an impact.
Nobody asking about Sunshine.
Sunshine's all right.
I like Sunshine.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, another one. Thomas Hayden Church's Sandman. So I put Sandman on this list, and he's not a great villain in the way that the movie ended up being.
Yeah.
If you go back and read into the pre-production for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, it feels like Sam Raimi wanted to do something akin to what he did with Doc Ock, and that got kind of lost because they had to introduce Venom and all these other kind of attendant pressures. I think there is something, you can tell there's been a lot cut out of that character. They really try to set up the family life, and it's kind of, you know, glanced over. What do you think?
Yeah, and a really good actor as well, who didn't really get a chance to flex his muscles, I don't think, in that role.
Right, somebody who did get to flex their muscles, Chris.
Here we go.
Tom Hardy's Bane.
Tom Hardy's Bane.
Is it a good villain? Because in the end, I think the trailers and everything sets him up to be a great villain. Yeah. And then in the final reel, you realise he's actually a stooge.
Yep.
He's a pawn in someone else's plan.
And what was he saying exactly? That was.
I remember. Do you ever see the original IMAX footage? That was. I actually think the final film, you can tell what he's saying.
Yeah,
fine.
pretty much.
Pretty much. But in that original, I had no idea what he's saying.
He just wasn't as memorable as I wanted him to be. I mean, it was a hard act to follow.
I think at the time it felt really iconic, but it's not endured in the same way as Ledger's Joker, for instance, has.
No, it didn't spring to mind at all when I was thinking about this.
Okay.
Any others, or is that your curveballs?
Yeah, I don't think we've had a great Lex Luthor yet.
No.
I think Gene Hackman's, while kind of memorable, is memorable for being bumbling. Like,
he's a little bumbling, but why did he have Otis with him?
That's it. I think he's bumbling Otis. By virtue of Otis. Why would the smartest man surround himself with idiots?
James Corden for Otis in the new one. Okay, so here's some of mine. I thought Fassbender's Magneto. I mean, McKellen's Magneto is great, but there's something about
Fassbender's.
It's that likability as well that we were talking about.
Also, I think because
go on.
No, I think because also the thing about Fassbender is because he's a younger Magneto. It's when he's in the kind of the thrall of his kind of fanaticism.
Yeah,
like he really believes in that cause. Where obviously later on he's waning to a degree, but he's right there and he's at his most kind of tenacious.
Yeah, it's the most interesting stage for the character, and I hate to use this pun, but Fassbender's so magnetic in the role, isn't he?
He's got steel, hasn't he?
Yeah, you can't take your eyes off him. I've got a guy crush on him, I guess. What else? Elijah Price from Unbreakable.
Oh, Samuel L. Jackson's
Spoiler alert. Because there was something really chilling about that character. It's weird. I've watched that film a few times over the years, and there's something about it that really gives me the creeps. And it's such a shame we'll never get to see where that would have gone.
Yeah, because he's such a vulnerable character. Like Mr. Glass?
Mr. Glass, yeah. They call me Mr. Glass. And finally, another curveball for you. Andrew in Chronicle, Dane DeHaan's character.
Okay.
I thought he was really good. Like, that was the arrival of a movie star. because he's the guy.
He's
the other guys are more
role. Because you forget about the other guys, you remember him.
Yeah.
So there must be something about him.
And again, it would have been cool to see where that went. You know,
and Jim Carrey's Riddler.
See, now you're being cheeky. Oh, you like Jim Carrey's Riddler?
No, I don't.
I know some people do. It's a weird character.
I think I liked it when I was 7.
It's a tough character. It's a weird character to play.
Yeah, I liked him more as like Enigma than when he went full on Riddler.
Yeah.
I think he could have carried over some of the creepiness into his version of the Riddler, but he just went full on Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
I just think of it as Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
in a Riddler suit,
and not scary. Cool. So those are our favourite villain performances, but we want to know yours. So Daniel's going to tell you the website address, the email address, because I can't remember it.
If I can, I believe it is the ever catchy IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com.
But I'm sure Rich has put it down there.
I hope he's put it down when you went like that and not.
Don't make me look a fool, Rich. And that's it for this week. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned to IGN for all your superhero needs.